unearned fame and fortune are far more destructive than they might appear. And right now, there's no organization on the planet that proves this point more than the WNBA. The league just posted its highest average game viewership in 24 years. They're bringing in massive new sponsorships, at least by the league standard. They're selling out arenas, which used to be unheard of for the WNBA. And this should be a dream come true for everybody involved in the WNBA.
Ever wonder why a superstar like Caitlin Clark is facing backlash in the WNBA? Despite boosting viewership, improving benefits, and spotlighting women's basketball, tensions arose as unexpected accusations from WNBA veterans surfaced, sparking controversy and raising questions about her rapid rise.
Executives to the players to the reporters who, for their sins in a past life, have been cursed with the job of covering a women's basketball league. Everyone should be overjoyed. But there's a big problem. All of this success, every bit of it, is due to the presence of one player in the league, and that is a generational talent named Caitlin Clark, who of course you've heard of, and still probably the only WNBA player whose name you know.
Matt Walsh isn't holding back. He's calling out hypocrisy with receipts to back it up. Armed with facts and figures, he's naming names and exposing the WNBA's biggest controversy yet. Behind the scenes, surprising revelations are coming to light, leaving fans stunned. Caitlin Clark has not just made waves, she's caused a seismic shift in women's basketball. Since stepping onto the court, she's transformed the WNBA, boosting its profile like never before. What are players saying in private? The truth might just shock you. Ready? Let's dive in.
The reason the WNBA just won the lottery. Without Caitlin Clark, nobody cares about any of these players or the league. With her, most people still don't care, but a lot more people care than did before. And everybody knows that, right? Therefore, everyone in the league other than Caitlin Clark is doing exactly what so many lottery winners do. They're allowing all of their worst personality traits to surface because they just can't help.
The WNBA is on fire, with viewership hitting record highs and executives thrilled by the surge. Packed arenas buzz with energy, creating an electric atmosphere once rare in women's basketball. It's as if a switch was flipped, making the WNBA the hottest ticket in town and cementing its place in the sports spotlight.
There are a lot of stories out there about lottery winners who go on to destroy their lives. Something like 70% of them supposedly go bankrupt within a few years. It's not hard to see how that would happen. When you give a lot of money and attention to a person who didn't earn any of it, that person doesn't suddenly change overnight. Instead, more often than not, all of their worst character traits are amplified 10 times over, and in many cases, that leads to a very public and humiliating collapse. This is a principle that doesn't just apply to individuals, it turns out. It applies to organizations.
The WNBA's rising popularity is drawing in major sponsorships and lucrative deals, with everyone wanting a slice of the action. Players are enjoying improved benefits, and the league is gaining attention from surprising new audiences. However, amid this success, not everyone is celebrating. Some players are voicing discontent, creating a surprising undercurrent of tension during what should be a triumphant moment for women's basketball. It's a twist that adds complexity to the league's meteoric rise.
A lot of resentment in this league lately, in particular since the season began. And the thing about resentment, as we all know, is that it tends to fester over time. It gets worse and worse. That's exactly what we're seeing.
It's puzzling. On one hand, the WNBA is finally basking in the recognition it long deserved. Yet some players seem unhappy with the very success they've been fighting for. Why? That's the big question. Is it jealousy over Caitlin Clark's meteoric rise? Fear of how her stardom might impact their careers? Or is there something deeper brewing beneath the surface?
Race hysteria in the WNBA has somehow reached yet another inflection point. The league is currently in the midst of what really might be the single most contrived racism scandal, certainly in any professional sport, at least since the fake noose in Bubba Wallace's garage. Specifically, a bunch of WNBA players have come out claiming that they've been victimized by racial slurs and other forms of racist attacks. Like a lot of players.
The WNBA is soaring on a wave of newfound popularity when a bombshell drops, shaking the league to its core. Explosive accusations of racism emerge, threatening to divide women's basketball. It's as if a single spark ignited a room filled with gasoline, leaving the league in turmoil.
Feel about what has happened over the past year with the W since you first came in to where it is now, and obviously the game has grown and there's new fans, but how do you appreciate the new fans without all the noise that's coming
I don't
with
appreciate
them?
the new fans that sit there and yell racial slurs at myself, my teammates, and the people that I play against. Because yeah, those might be opponents, but those are friends too. You know, they don't deserve that. So I don't appreciate the new fans. I think it's okay to do that.
Brittany Griner, a top WNBA star, makes a shocking claim. New fans are hurling slurs during games. It's a troubling accusation that's shaking the league's growing fan base.
That Brittany Griner was asked was about the massive growth of this league, which was dead in the water just a year ago and had been dead for its entire existence. And the reporter asked, "What do you think of all the new fans?" And like in any other context, when someone says, "What do you think of all the new fans that are coming in?" Usually it's, "Oh, it's great. We love how everybody is supporting the league and we're so grateful." None of that. Instead of some gratitude, some appreciation for the people who have saved the WNBA, who pay to come out to see bad players like Brittany Griner, instead of that,
Griner isn't alone. Alyssa Thomas, another superstar, supports her claims, adding powerful words to the growing controversy.
Honestly, it's been a lot of nonsense. I think in my 11-year career, I've never experienced the racial comments from the Indiana Fever fan base. We had her face on a serious matter that happened in this world, and it's unacceptable, honestly. And there's no place for it, and we've been professional throughout the whole entire thing, but I've never been called the things that I've been called on social media, and there's no place for it.
Thomas, an 11-year veteran with unmatched experience, made bold claims, sparking serious discussions. However, Matt Walsh, never one to avoid controversy, began questioning the allegations, pointing out inconsistencies. He's not alone. Others are also raising eyebrows, scrutinizing the situation, and challenging the narrative. Could there be more to the story than meets the eye?
they're now accusing the people who have started showing up to WNBA games for the first time in more than 2 decades of being horrible racists.
Here's the puzzling part. Where's the evidence? In a world where everyone has a smartphone and arenas are packed with fans recording every moment, not a single incident has been captured on video. This glaring lack of proof has left many questioning the validity of these serious claims.
For the fine print. None of these racial slurs we're told about, some of which have supposedly occurred during games, none of them, as far as I'm aware, have actually been caught on camera. Interesting. There's no visual or audio evidence that might substantiate any of this. Not a single credible report, even. That's extremely unusual, obviously, given that there are cameras and smartphones at every WNBA game.
Walsh isn't holding back, boldly claiming these accusations are completely fabricated. It's a bold stance that's sparking plenty of debate. But here's the real question. Why would players fabricate such serious claims? Is there a deeper motive behind the drama, or are they just looking to stir the pot? This question has fans and critics alike engaged in a heated discussion.
The videos would be all over the internet. But those videos are not all over the internet. They're not anywhere on the internet. So instead, we have to take the players' word.
The situation is dividing the league. On one side, players feel victimized and demand action. On the other, skeptics like Walsh demand solid evidence before jumping to conclusions. In the middle are the fans, sponsors, and the future of the WNBA, all caught in the crossfire.
Think about the answer makes sense, even in that context. I mean, why would that be the first thing that Griner mentions when the reporter asks about the fans? Why not say, well, the overwhelming majority of the fans are great people. I'm so happy that they're paying money, and I'm so grateful to have them. Like, why wouldn't you, even if this was happening, why wouldn't you?
Imagine a packed arena, the crowd on edge as Caitlin Clark dominates the court. Suddenly, everything shifts. Clark's on the ground, clutching her face. What just happened? Rewind to that game. DeCarrington goes for the ball and boom, Clark's down. The crowd gasps and boos, but no foul is called. The refs let it slide, and social media explodes with debates. Was it intentional or an accident? Everyone's dissecting the replay.
Seeing this angle. I'm calling her in, and I'm saying to her, I need answers.
Enter Christine Brennan, a veteran USA Today reporter, who asks Carrington about the incident. As a reporter, her job is to ask the tough questions, and she does just that.
Went and kind of swatted at Caitlin. Did you intend to hit her in the eye? And if so, could you just, or if not, either way, could you talk about what happened on that play?
Carrington responds,
I don't even know why I would intend to hit anybody in the eye. That doesn't even make sense to me. But no, I didn't. I didn't know I hit her, actually. I was trying to make a play on the ball, and I guess I followed through and I hit her. So obviously it's never intentional. That's not even like the type of player that I am.
Carrington responds.
Offensive. It's the bare minimum you'd expect under the circumstances. It's the kind of questions that reporters ask male athletes all the time. When there's a foul, when there's a scuffle, it's the same kind of questions. But Carrington immediately gets snippy and obnoxious in response. And then just for asking these questions, Brennan, who incidentally is one of the biggest champions of women's sports in the industry, is now getting dogpiled. In particular, the WNBA Players Association just put out one of the most demented statements.
The WNBA Players Association didn't just disagree with Brennan's question. They launched a fierce backlash against it.
Call BS to unprofessional members of the media like Christine Brennan. You are not fooling anyone. That so-called interview in the name of journalism was a blatant attempt to bait a professional athlete into participating in a narrative that is false and designed to fuel racist, homophobic, and misogynistic vitriol on social media. You cannot hide behind you.
They accused Brennan of being unprofessional, attempting to bait Carrington into a false narrative.
We're at the point now that journalists can't even ask black players about fouls they commit against Caitlin Clark without being accused of racism and somehow also homophobia for asking the question. That's how much racism there is in the WNBA. Even asking questions is now racist, which I guess we already knew.
Wow. All this for just asking about a play? The Players Association even criticized Brennan's journalistic integrity, urging USA Today to review its ethical standards. But questioning controversial plays is standard in sports journalism. It happens in other leagues regularly. So why is it different in the WNBA? In other leagues, when stars get fouled, reporters ask, yet in the WNBA, it seems to be off limits.
I'm not going to see any of that on video or hear any of it, but you know, just take their word for it. Take the WNBA's word for it. Take the media's word for it. Yet some WNBA players are still upset that the media isn't making an even bigger deal out of the fake racism.
What does this mean for sports journalism and women's basketball? Are we entering an era where tough questions are off limits, where every inquiry is scrutinized for hidden agendas? This issue goes beyond one player question. It's about the relationship between players, media, and fans. It's about transparency, accountability, and how sports reporting is handled. As the dust settles, one thing is clear: women's basketball is at a crossroads. How the sport navigates this challenge could shape its future and its coverage for years to come.
Stand up for myself. I don't really get to speak out on things just because I just try to ignore, and I just try to stand strong. Like, I've been through so much. I've seen so much. I've been attacked so many times. I've been sexual.
Just when the drama seemed to hit its peak, WNBA stars Angel Ree and Asia Wilson step in, turning up the heat even more. The real twist? The media isn't just covering the story, they're becoming part of it, fueling the flames of an already intense controversy.
He says the media should have done more to combat the ongoing issue of racism in women's basketball before it reached a boil.
Angel Reese isn't holding back, accusing the media of profiting from her struggles. She claims they've painted her as a villain while dismissing her demands for accountability, sparking a heated debate about fairness and representation in sports coverage.
That her pleas for accountability and action have been repeatedly ignored. Quote, "The media has benefited from my pain and me being villainized to create a narrative," she wrote on X. "They allowed this. This was beneficial to them. Y'all a little late to the party and could have tried to put out this fire way before it started.
And what did MVP Asia Wilson have to say about all this when interviewed?
Asia Wilson is her name. Quote, "It doesn't matter what we all do as black women, we're still going to be swept underneath the rug. That's why it boils my blood when people say it's not about race."
The media is amplifying this narrative without pause, skipping essential fact-checking, and Matt Walsh is calling them out. He accuses the media of fueling what he calls a fabricated scandal, claiming they're reporting on unverified claims. Walsh compares it to other sports controversies that fizzled into non-issues, criticizing the lack of accountability in how the story is being handled.
The Fever are going to be over 200,000 higher than the next highest total attendance in league history. Clarkonomics, my friend!
And what did MVP Asia Wilson have to say about all this when interviewed?
You ever had any encounters with things like that since you've been in the WNBA?
No, never.
The WNBA is scrambling to address the controversy, issuing statements condemning comments and promising action. While that sounds reassuring, Matt Walsh remains skeptical, questioning the effectiveness of these measures without concrete evidence. Meanwhile, amidst the chaos, the league is experiencing significant growth, boasting its highest average game viewership in 24 years. Yet, instead of celebrating this remarkable milestone, the focus remains firmly on the drama. The spotlight is on controversy rather than progress, leaving the league in a paradox where its achievements are overshadowed by allegations and disputes. It's a moment of triumph mixed with turbulence for women's basketball.
Be careful when you say like the Fever fans, because I don't think it's the Fever fans. I think it's the people that wanted Caitlin Clark to be a certain type of way and they thought that she was. And so they became Caitlin Clark fans, assuming that. And then they realized like, oh no, she's actually not racist.
The situation is causing a rift among players. While stars like Reese and Wilson stand firmly by the claims, others remain notably silent. Are they avoiding conflict to maintain stability, or do they see things differently? This silence raises questions about differing perspectives within the league on the unfolding controversy.
In our league should be facing any sort of racism, hurtful, disrespectful, hateful comments and threats. Those aren't fans, those are trolls, and it's a real disservice to the people in our league, the organization, the WNBA.
Fans are divided, with some supporting the players speaking out and others questioning the validity of the claims. The entire situation feels like a whirlwind of accusations and skepticism, leaving everyone unsure of where it will lead. Is this a groundbreaking moment in sports history, or simply overblown drama? Only time will reveal the truth and its impact on the WNBA and its legacy.
There are a lot of really good fans, whether they've been fans for 20 plus years or whether they're new fans in our league.
Just when you thought WNBA drama couldn't get any more intense, Caitlin Clark takes center stage. The anticipation had everyone wondering, would Clark follow the traditional rookie path of staying quiet during controversies, or would she carve her own path? Finally, Clark breaks her silence, and her bold response sends ripples through the league. She doesn't hold back, addressing the situation head-on with striking words that leave everyone talking. Her approach is nothing short of game-changing.
To uplift this league in a very positive light is the best thing that we can do, because there are so many great players, there's so many great teams, there are so many positive storylines that can be written and celebrated, and for me, that's why I became a fan of this league, is these people were my idols. I grew up wanting to...
Can you believe it? She's not buying into the narrative. She's calling out the bad actors without painting all the fans with the same brush. But that's not all. Clark goes on to praise the fans, both new and old. She says,
To uplift and, represent this league in a positive way is the best thing I can do.
Amid the controversy, Clark surprises everyone by thanking the fans, skillfully balancing her support for fellow players while appreciating those who stand by her. Then, she adds a twist, making things even more intriguing with a bold statement that catches everyone off guard.
Just too manufactured and overblown to take seriously. They're reaching to a degree that's comical and delusional at the same time. This scandal has been invented out of whole cloth by WNBA players for one reason and one reason only. They are racked with envy and resentment that the most popular player in the league is white.
It's like she's telling everyone to focus on the good stuff. But is she being naive, or is she on to something?
What they're really claiming is that Caitlin Clark, by bringing a bunch of white fans to the league, has naturally also brought racism. Basically, they're complaining that too many white people are watching women's basketball.
The reaction to Caitlin Clark's statements is a mix of admiration and criticism. Many fans applaud her for refusing to play the victim, impressed by her directness. However, others aren't convinced, accusing her of being out of touch and failing to grasp the struggles her fellow players face. Adding fuel to the fire, Matt Walsh jumps in, championing Clark's response as evidence that the controversy is exaggerated. He loudly asserts that even Clark dismisses claims of widespread racism in the league. But this raises bigger questions. If Clark doesn't see the issue, what are her peers experiencing? Is this just a misunderstanding fueled by differing perspectives? Or is there a deeper, more complex problem at the heart of the league?
For long, people start to push back. No normal person wants to pay money to support a team only to be told that they're racist and horrible for doing it. It's a big part of why the DEI grift has begun to collapse.
Let's dive into the bombshell Matt Walsh just dropped. According to him, the WNBA controversy isn't about racism, it's about envy. Caitlin Clark steps onto the court, and suddenly, the league is buzzing like never before. Ticket sales are skyrocketing, sponsors are flooding in, and the WNBA is seeing unmatched attention. Clark, a generational talent, stands out not only for her skills but also as a white player in a league where about 80% of athletes are black, sparking complex emotions and conversations.
It's clear that, none of these players or executives or sports journalists really want the league to succeed anyway. To borrow an adage from the world of sports commentary, you might even say that the WNBA is like a rubber band, one that's been stretched to the limit by pathological narcissists who only know how to complain and demean their own fans on the basis of their skin color. And one deranged sports podcast and self-pitying press conference at a time, that rubber band is about to break.
Walsh argues that some players may be envious of Clark's success. Why? Because she's quickly becoming the face of the league, with endorsement deals that make other players' contracts seem insignificant. This rookie could potentially earn more off the court than some veterans do on it. The controversy isn't just about Caitlin Clark, it's about a league experiencing major growing pains. The WNBA is evolving, but not everyone is happy with how it's happening, especially established players who've worked for years, only to have a rookie shake things up. This isn't unique to the WNBA. Other sports leagues have faced similar growing pains. As things change and new stars rise, controversy often follows, with issues like representation and star treatment surfacing repeatedly. So what does this mean for the WNBA? The league finds itself at a crossroads, trying to satisfy longtime fans while embracing a new wave of attention and popularity. It's a delicate balancing act, and right now, it seems like they're struggling to find their footing amid these changes. How the WNBA handles this situation could shape the league for years to come. Caitlin Clark is bringing in more attention than ever before, but it's also sparking tough conversations about sports, race, and human nature. Experts agree that the league has a golden opportunity for growth, but there's a catch. The drama could easily backfire if not managed carefully. We've seen similar scenarios play out in other sports. Sometimes controversies propel a league to new heights, while other times they lead to its downfall. The WNBA is facing the same challenges that have rocked other leagues in the past. The big question is whether they'll rise above it, or if the challenges will prove too overwhelming. The upcoming season could be a game changer for the future of the league. What do you think? Let us know in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss out.